All right, welcome back to another great episode of The Scoop Around the Loop. My name is Thomas. We've got the whole squad with us here today. We got Andrew Springer, Tyler Springer, and Brady Holland. How's everyone's week going?
So far, so good. It's beautiful outside. I just got done taking the dog for a walk before this fine podcast started.
I think rain is heading your way because it's raining here. So
yeah,
in the headquarters.
It was raining earlier this morning here too. I got a round of golf in yesterday, guys. It was amazing.
I was trying to find you.
Well,
I should have known.
I had a very important business meeting.
All right, if it starts raining where I'm at, I'm gonna leave the show for a second and cover up the patio furniture. So just
okay.
I
also got something in the mail the other day that I want to show off because I'm cool.
That clock still doesn't work.
Fantasy football trophy.
Oh, nice.
Champion.
Is he sitting on a toilet?
No, he's sitting on a chair watching all the fantasy football games.
In pads.
Nobody watches fantasy football games.
In full pads.
Well, they watch the NFL, but for their fantasy football team. So it's been a good week. Finally got my trophy, and I played golf yesterday, and I didn't play terrible.
Very nice, Thomas.
You ready to get into some local news?
Yep, let's get the scoop around the loop going.
Tyler, when you sent this article, you taught me something new. Well, let's get into it. Legacy Woods, they have announced a new development plan, basically taking 21 acres and they're adding a nature sanctuary, Jordan House Museum, and a heritage center all around the Jordan House. They still have a little bit of funding to do for this project. Tyler, what got you excited about it?
Well, for one, it's in West Des Moines, so whenever anything happens in West Des Moines, even though I live in Johnston now, I kind of take note of it. I love being out in nature, and I love history, and that's kind of what these two things are. Both of those things are what Legacy Woods is all about. It's at the corner of Grand and Fuller Road in West Des Moines. By Raccoon River, Child's Gymnastics, the great America's Best Apparel is right down the street. This used to be a church site, Jesus of the Nazareth or something like that, and it was like a campground, I believe.
Yep.
A handful of years ago, and the Jordan House has always been there since West Des Moines was founded. It's James Jordan's house. He was kind of the founder of West Des Moines, you could call, was the one that brought the railroad to the area and kind of founded or platted out what is now Valley Junction.
Yeah, no relation to Michael Jordan's dad.
No.
Or relation to Michael Jordan.
Since after that, the Jordan House is a famous stop on the Underground Railroad. So I went there a couple of times in school for field trips and stuff like that. They say the Jordan House is haunted. That's always kind of what I've thought of the place, is just like a haunted place in West Des Moines, to be honest. But all this area around the Jordan House is going to be developed again into a nature sanctuary. That's probably what I'm most excited for, taking the family out there on nice days. There's going to be an orchard at the nature sanctuary. Pergola probably will end up being a good spot for family photos and all that stuff. And then they're moving a couple buildings and bringing them to the area to kind of make more of almost like a living history farms type of setting, it seems. And so, yeah, I'm pretty excited if they get the funding for it. They said everything will be complete within a couple years. Obviously, the funding is the big part, but a great location, lots to do on Grand Avenue all the way throughout Des Moines. And this is just kind of adding to that.
So on the tour, did they talk about the house potentially being haunted?
They're like in school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. His James Jordan daughter fell down the stairs, and the supposed haunting is her with her doll or her like stuffed animal or stuffed baby doll or something like that, and you can apparently hear like a little girl. I don't think it's like a an evil haunting or a bad haunting, but and of course people feed into it. I've heard multiple people tell me that they've felt stuff there when they've
there you have I remember going there in elementary school and like looking back, I don't know how much, was just them playing it up or not, but I remember they took a picture once of the entryway, and in the picture you could see a shadow of somebody that wasn't there in the photo.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's how, I mean, sadly, that's what I remember about that house, is that it's haunted. But yeah, we used to go there a lot in elementary school on tours. And
yeah, and I remember we've talked about this on the podcast a couple of times, but our parents used to have a paper route, and they used to deliver to all those businesses off of Fuller Road. And I remember, a handful of times going with them on the paper route at 2:30 a.m. or whatever. And driving past that Jordan house at 2:30 a.m. was always so spooky. I mean, even today, I think I would still feel some of those like feelings if you were to drive down Fuller Road at that time of night. The setting of it is just kind of creepy, and it looks haunted.
I think just older houses in general at night kind of give me the heebie-jeebies too. Like there was one that I used to deliver on my paper route. I don't know why, but it was an older colonial style home. And they always had those fake candles lit in the window, like at the second story, and it always just creeped me out. Yeah. I don't know why.
With good reason.
You guys might teach me something here today. Tyler also threw out the other question of other notable houses in the Des Moines area, and I literally can't think of any like that I've heard people talk about. Like, because Villisca is not the Des Moines area. And that's the only one that I can think of that I remember us talking about as we grew up. Is there any others?
The most notable one in all of Des Moines. I can't think of any other houses, but I have heard of one place in particular that's apparently haunted, and it's Merle Mall. Have you ever heard that?
No. Yeah, there's like a whole mall underneath the mall.
Yeah, supposedly it was built on top of an old nunnery way back in the day.
What?
And, hauntings come from, this is what I've heard. Andrew's probably heard some different things, but if you like go into Merle Mall and like kind of explore, it kind of is creepy. I mean, most of it's like abandoned, especially like the back half, back by like the food court. But yeah, apparently there's a bowling alley down below and all that stuff, but there's a bunch of tunnels underneath the mall. But I have heard through stories from other people telling me this and Reddit, although which is least not very reliable probably, but it was apparently built on an old nunnery, and the hauntings come from nuns that were impregnated and they never left Merle Mall because bad things happened to them because they were nuns and got pregnant.
Well, and I think it was possibly Brady that told me this. I think someone told me that's completely shut off now, right? Like there's no way to get down in that like basement system, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like check.
If there's like an old fountain in there. Yeah, there it is. Yep. That's creepy as can be right there.
Well, someone just put dolls in there. That makes anything creepy.
You go down there, Thomas.
So like in the whole, see if I can find another. Like there's this like whole. See if I can switch over to that. Hang with me.
While you're pulling that up, I've heard of the Van Meter Visitor. I don't believe this at all. Have you guys heard of the Van Meter Visitor? Way back in like the 1800s, there is some like mythical creature thing that people came across in Van Meter, and it's kind of always been a local legend. But if you look up like hauntings in Des Moines, that's like usually the first thing that pops up.
Yeah. So can you see like this?
Yeah.
Like
so that's the basement, right?
Yep. It's like a whole nother mall under it.
Back when it was booming.
Well, I was gonna say they used to use that, right?
Yeah.
McDonald's was down there.
I don't ever remember that, but I know back when,
I think that's the old McDonald's.
At any point, was Merle Mall ever your guys' mall? I don't remember ever going there.
Nah, Valley West Mall all day.
For life.
I was gonna say, I remember actually having to use the parking garage at Valley West Mall.
I'm trying to think of what we would have gotten to Merle Hay for.
Old Navy.
Yeah, Old Navy, and then there was what was that sporting goods store that they had there?
Dunham's. I think something like that's still there.
And then they had Sears too. Was obviously the big one until
They had a Montgomery Ward when I was little there. Merle Hay was originally built as an outdoor mall, and then they enclosed it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a different place. They just came out. I think I had it on the Springer Brothers page. They just announced like new plans for a revised arena where the old Yonkers used to be, which would be pretty cool.
Who are they planning on getting into that arena? Because the Bucks have officially said that they're not going there, right?
Other hockey
club teams and then like pickleball.
And then they already have a pickleball place, don't they? In there,
is it Dinks there or whatever?
There's a indoor professional. I guess it's futsal technically, but indoor professional soccer team. Professional indoor soccer team. There you go.
That would actually be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, super fast paced. But is that all for hauntings? All I had down was Merle Hay Mall and then the Van Meter Visitor. Can you pull that up, Andrew?
Well, I was gonna just speak from like a personal.
Was your childhood home haunted?
The Van Meter Visitor.
This will be a weird connection to Andrew because he has all sorts of stories about this. My fiance, Jennifer, is convinced that her house when she was growing up was haunted by Johnny Gosh. So.
Why by Johnny Gosh?
I don't know. That's just the story she came up with in her head. She's like, he had to have died somewhere around Sioux City, which is a weird story to come up with in your head.
Well, first of all, it's
still alive. He calls mom.
All, he's still alive. He hasn't died yet, Jen.
I don't know how much we want to get on this on the stream, but Andrew, don't you have?
Yeah, there's a Van Meter Visitor right there. Look at that. Look at that first one on the left, though. That's the funniest one.
Is it like a big bat?
Yeah, it's like a big bat thing. And apparently, like back in like the mid 1800s, people were really, really convinced of this thing. And now obviously it's like a joke, but a lot of people have heard of the Van Meter Visitor.
They should change their mascot to this.
And it like shoots lasers out of its eyes or something like that, or shoots like bright light.
What?
So it's coming out of its eyes right there.
I don't want to criticize Van Meter residents, but
well, it's more like criticizing people that were alive in 1850. I think.
Yeah.
You hear about that type of stuff all the time. I feel like
I think they might have just saw an eagle in the middle of the night.
So I looked at a house for somebody. I don't know, Tyler, when was that? November, October, something like that. This last year. It was a large house, built in the 70s. Probably would have been considered like a mansion back then. Our buyers didn't live here yet, so they're out of town. They really kind of were intrigued by this house because it had a lot of things that they kind of wanted. It needed a lot of work because it really hadn't been updated a whole lot since it was built. But I said, I'll go look through it. I kind of seen a lot of homes with them. I knew what they would like, what they wouldn't like. And so as I'm walking through it, like my stomach started to hurt. Like I felt like I wasn't alone in that house. And I couldn't really explain it. I felt like someone was going to jump around the corner at me. And, I finished walking through it. And as soon as I started driving away, like the feeling went away. Like I felt good. And I didn't know how to explain that to the buyers because I felt like something supernatural was going on. And I don't know if they thought if I said it, I'm like, are they going to think I'm weird or, I don't know how else to explain it. And so, they asked me what I thought about it. I finally said, man, like I felt some weird stuff in that house. And they said, you mean like psychedelic stuff? And I was like, yeah, that's a good way to put it. And they said, do you know, and I won't say the name, but like, do you know who this person is? I said, yes. And I know exactly who that person was. So this person still lives in Des Moines, but they're into that stuff. Like, and they're the ones that built the house originally. And so I for sure felt like something was in that house with me, and I was by myself. So yeah, that's a real. And I see stories all the time from like literally like stories on Facebook from agents making comments about, I don't feel like I'm alone in this house. So
we could tie this back to real estate a little bit here with this question and in the topic. If a house in a neighborhood is known as being haunted, does that decrease the value of the house?
I don't think it has to. I think for some people it definitely does. I think your pool of buyers definitely gets smaller, but some people might pay a premium for it, to be honest, depending on what the house is and what the haunting is.
Andrew, what do you think?
If it's like a
I mean, I think some people would I think it's either worth something or it's worth nothing, to someone if it's haunted or they feel like there's haunted. I'm not going to be like, I'll live in that house for $50,000 less because it's haunted. Like, heck no, I'm not living in a house where there's spirits.
Brady, what do you think?
I don't want them spirits to see me get out of the shower. Like you just never know where they are.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Like as Tyler, like some people definitely would pay top dollar for that, but like if it was me, heck no, I'm out of there. I'm not stepping foot in that place.
Go ahead. Have I ever told you the story about the first listing I ever had and the addendum I had to write up for it?
No,
I don't think so.
So similar to what Andrew was talking about, these buyers walked through this listing on the second showing and just kind of got a weird vibe. And it had been sold, I think, 3 times in 7 years, like something kind of uncommon, like pretty quickly. And they made my seller sign an addendum saying that they've never experienced paranormal activity in the house.
And your sellers never had?
I had to call my sellers and say, are you willing to put on paper that you've never experienced any paranormal activity in the house?
We had a home under contract, a listing where my best friend actually had rehabbed it, and he had acquired it from an estate of a really good friend of his and his parents, and so he rehabbed it. We got it under contract. They do the inspection. We don't hear anything from the agent for a while. We're like, what's going on? And she goes, has anyone ever died in that house? And I call my buddy and I go, hey, has anyone ever died in that house? And I said, if you don't absolutely know that to be true, then don't give an absolute answer, and not just like maybe, he's like, no, he definitely died right in his chair. I'm like, dang it. And so these people ended up backing out. I mean, it's $170,000 house. And I'm sorry, but and she said, like, it's just part of their culture. Like they can't live in a house where someone's died. And so I said, well, they're probably going to have to buy new construction because chances are someone's probably, more people than die in their own home. And
right. It's either in your house or in the hospital. Like,
and I'm not saying who, like, I'm not saying what municipality, so don't say who you think it is because I don't want to get sued. But I know there's at least one municipality in the metro that would call the deaths in the ambulance versus in the house. So that way you could say that they died in the ambulance, not in the house. And so, because that does, I think our house on 34th Street actually, someone had died in it before we bought it, before our parents bought it.
Our dad was looking for a deal anyways.
Bought that house. They bought that house for $74,000.
Yeah, if that affected the value at all, I believe it because my dad would.
We would hear weird sounds in that house. I swear.
I think the only thing I would avoid is if I figured out that someone was murdered in my house.
I agree. That's like a totally different thing, and I think in most cases it'd probably be smart to disclose that, especially if it was recent. But I have 2 things to kind of wrap this up. Number one, all my Grandview alumni, have probably heard this story, but apparently Jensen Hall at Grandview University, which is on the far west side of campus, is haunted. And now that building is all, well, when I was there, they had like a sandwich shop at the bottom level, but then that's where all the faculty offices were, or most of the faculty offices were. And apparently back in the day, it was an all boys dorm, and a girl snuck in. And while she was there, fire started in the dorm. Everyone got out, and she was the only one in that whole building that wasn't accounted for, apparently, back in, when Grandview was a college and stuff. And apparently there's been multiple people, like while I was in school that, tried to go find out what was up and have heard and seen things. So Jensen Hall at Grandview University is another one. And second of all, to Andrew's point, if that thought of someone dying in a house really, really creeps you out and steers you away from buying a home, yeah, you're best to limit your search to like homes, that were built after 1995, probably. I know my first house that I ever bought was built in 1908. I guarantee you multiple people have died in that house at some point. And, that doesn't mean that they were murdered or stabbed to death or anything like that. But more than likely someone died of old age in that house by this point, So that's just something that, in my opinion, would be best for you just to not really think about and dive too far into, to be honest, because I think your home search will become very, 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 very stressful.
Yeah, mine is 1917, and I honestly didn't think about that until like
now,
maybe a year or so after moving in. Because when Hayden was alive,
I wasn't gonna bring it up to you.
Someone's died in that house.
Just offer on that place.
When Hayden was alive, there was always this corner of the living room that she would stare at just out of nowhere, like just, boop, and then she would just be looking at it for minutes on end. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, "There's a ghost in this house," but it's nice,
Yeah,
nice
they're chill and don't mess with me.
So
you put out positive energy, the ghost will put you back positive energy. So
couple things. Tyler mentioned Grandview. There's a room at Iowa State in Friley Hall, if you look this up, because Iowa State is known for being one of the most haunted campuses in the Midwest. In fact, the 5th most haunted campus. There's a dorm in Friley Hall called the Devil's Legion Room, nice. Where it's bleeding walls, there's loud noises, and I think some people try to stay in there like as challenges or dares. I don't think they let them anymore, and people couldn't stay the whole night. Like it was so creepy and eerie. Look it up.
This is a dorm room that they don't give to students anymore.
It's just like there's no access to it anymore because it's so haunted. But our dog used to. For a while, he wouldn't come up the stairs. Then we got him to, which was like a terrible mistake because then he started like taking socks and stuff. And then one day, it was like over a year ago, he was walking in the hallway and like freaked out, like barked and like couldn't, usually like trying to run away because we have a hardwood floor up there. And he ran downstairs and will not come back upstairs. Just out of nowhere, like he was spooked.
Okay, let's
hopefully whenever we sell our house, hopefully nobody sees this podcast and says, "Hey, on your podcast, said your dog was scared by a spirit."
You could also
I don't know.
You can just introduce them to the dog and be like, he's kind of a scaredy cat. Like,
yeah. Did you? Okay, this podcast is gonna end up running long because of this, but the spookiest. I looked up Freely Hall. There's another ghost story.
We're getting lots of viewers right now, so I think this is good content.
The spookiest story, however, occurs in the Birch Welch Roberts Hall. A couple of years ago, 2 Department of Public Safety officers were doing their nightly routines through campus when they spotted someone standing on the big white balcony in the Birch Welch Roberts dormitory complex. Students are not allowed to be on that part of the dorm, so the officers yelled at the figure to get down. According to a story told at the event, the figure, who appeared to be a man, proceeded to jump straight up in the air and land on the roof 2 stories above. This part's not funny. He quickly squeezed his way into a window that led to the dorm's attic. The DPS officers rushed inside and up to the top floor to try and locate this man. Once they got up to the attic, they found him hanging from the rafters. The student had been missing for 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
Like he hung himself?
Yeah. This was an article in
I was going to make a joke that it was a Van Meter visitor.
2018, and it was this article was after a event on Halloween in 2018 where a bunch of people told stories about hauntings around Iowa State.
That's why they canceled Visha.
So yeah, there's that. That's kind of creepy.
It's too soon, Thomas.
Wasn't Visha canceled like 5 years ago? What?
What's that?
Freshman in high school, college, I think. Didn't get to Visha it up.
All right. We got Cooper DeJean and Riley Moss. Tyler, calm down. I'm going to talk about Riley Moss too. They are coming June 1st to Principal Park because they're hosting a celebrity softball game to raise funds for University of Iowa Family Children's Hospital. Who else do we got coming here? Cooper DeJean's going to be captain of one team. AJ Brown, Reed Blankenship are coming with him. Isaiah Rogers. And then Riley Moss is going to be the other captain.
Basically, Eagles versus Broncos.
Yep, he's bringing Bo Nix, Will Lutz, Alex Singleton, Mike McGlinchey, and then apparently, I don't know what teams they're playing on, but Jay Higgins, CJ Beathard, and Avonte Maddox. I don't even know who that is. Is that an Iowa player? Anyways.
Mini pros.
I'm going to Google Avonte Maddox really quick after I'm done reading this. Tickets are available on iowacubs.com. Just $15 to get in. And meet and greet tickets are $100, limited to the first 200 buyers. What do you? This is kind
really,
of a cool
really,
event, right?
Yeah. This is awesome. It's kind of cool thinking about all those pro athletes that have never been to Des Moines or even maybe thought about being in Des Moines, coming to Des Moines for a good cause. And then this is taking place after a Cubs game. Did you say that?
No, it's right after an Iowa Cubs game. So can you buy tickets to the Cubs game and this charity event?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. So it should be, hopefully the weather's good. Should be a pretty cool event.
Yeah, this kind of makes me think about back when my grandpa was a football coach at Norwalk. He hosted an event like this. He had a connection on the Green Bay Packers coaching staff, and he brought in like 12 Green Bay Packers football players to play a 5-on-5 basketball game where there was like a meet and greet and stuff like that, and he raised money to build the new stadium/field that Norwalk played football on for
that's very cool
35 years. And so kind of makes me think about that. It is really cool to get a bunch of NFL players into Des Moines, especially ones that have never been to Iowa. But then there's still the connection of DeJean and Riley Moss that both grew up in Iowa. Riley Moss grew up right there, right next to Des Moines as well, too. Which is
Principal Park a ton of times, I'd imagine.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know much. Riley Moss was he Ankeny the whole time,
as far as I know.
Yeah.
The thought of having my king that will be made into a bronze statue outside of Mile High, Bo Nix, in the same city as me makes me very happy. But that brings us to, I think, the question you had, Thomas, or the debate topic. Who is the best current athlete, professional athlete that's currently
Do we debate the best that's not Caitlin Clark to make this interesting?
Yeah, I mean that's obviously the most obvious answer, but so sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so what's your case for Riley Moss? Because I feel like that's what you're gonna say.
No, that's not the argument. That's just the argument. My argument is that Cooper DeJean is the only one getting credit for being a starting white cornerback in the NFL. and he's just not. There's this guy named Riley Moss on the Denver Broncos. It's kind of cool. The two
white
two white
cornerbacks
are from the state of Iowa, which is pretty cool. But if you were to compare stats to stats, Riley Moss, you could argue, has better stats than Cooper DeJean, and that's while being picked on all game because he has an all-pro cornerback on the other side of him. I'm going to break these stats down for you, Thomas, real quick, and you tell me who's the better player. Okay? Cooper DeJean, in 20 games, he fumbled the ball 3 times on punt returns. Lost.
Yeah, he was a liability on punt return last year.
He had 69
with his running motion that he has, you mean?
Yeah, because he's weak with the ball. He had 69 total tackles. He had 1 pick six in the
fair
Super Bowl,
catch,
which definitely counts for. He gets extra points for that pick 6 in the Super Bowl.
Pause really quick. Pause. It wasn't a fair catch that was called. The call that was made was it was an illegal hand signal.
Well, because Kurt Ferentz says he runs like this, so it's no wonder he doesn't blow his rotator cuff more often.
Well, that was a dumb argument for Kurt Ferentz to make. He was making a Peter call, and he was telling people to get away from the ball, which he didn't know, but that's an illegal hand signal to make because apparently you can't do that above your shoulders.
Do you know?
Okay, continue.
Do you know if he was out at the 1 yard line, they could never reviewed that, but because it was a touchdown, they were able to review the whole play. That's why.
Yep. I watched that last 5 minutes of that game multiple times. So, okay. Riley Moss versus Cooper DeJean. Keep going.
Right. Yeah, so Cooper had 10 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble. He had 3 fumble recoveries, which is pretty good. He was around the ball a lot. And he played in 20 games last year. Riley Moss, on the other hand, played in 14 games. He had 93 tackles compared to Cooper's 69 tackles. He had a pick, which is a nasty pick against the Raiders, diving behind his head, Odell Beckham type catch. He had a forced fumble. He had a forced fumble recovery. He had a 12 tackle game and a 14 tackle game, and he had 9 pass deflections. All that in 14 games. So, in all actuality, they're probably pretty equal in stats. But it does bother me that the Eagles player gets all the love for being a white cornerback. But my guy, Moss on the Broncos gets no love for it.
Well, first off, I've always thought Riley Moss was an amazing player. And I think my consensus on it would be, as it stands right now, I think Riley Moss is a better cornerback, but Cooper is a better playmaker.
He had 3 You just said he was a liability.
Yeah, but it's a fluke. Next year, I guarantee you he'll return.
And I think a lot of it has to do with like Philadelphia and just their loudness, obviously, with everything.
Yeah.
So obviously someone from there. I don't actually care. I'm just making the argument.
The dude picked off the best quarterback in the NFL for a pick 6 to essentially make it.
Well, Riley Moss will certainly pick off Patrick Mahomes eventually. So when that happens.
Will it be for a pick 6, though, is the question. Because when Cooper does get the ball, he scores.
The point is, I think the state of Iowa should be getting more love in general for having 2 white starting cornerbacks in the NFL at the same time. That's pretty cool. And they're within, 150 miles of each other in terms of where they were born? I don't know how far away Oldie Boats is.
It's like Northeast Iowa. I don't even know if I want to speak. I don't know where it is.
But to answer your question too, and then I'll let everyone else answer. I would say outside of Caitlin Clark, realistically, the best Iowan in professional sports right now, it's not sexy at all. It's probably Tristan Wirfs, left tackle for the Bucks. He's the second highest rated tackle. And anyone that knows football knows how important that position is.
I was going to bring up him, and then he's getting kind of old, but I was also going to bring up Brandon Scherf. Both offensive linemen. Brandon Scherf's made 5 Pro Bowls. I think Tristan Wirfs is up to 3 now? How many years has he been in the league?
However long he's been in the league, right?
Yeah.
I think he shot up right to like the second or third highest ranked tackle like his rookie year, I want to say. He Did he like allow a sack that Super Bowl year with Tom Brady?
No, I think it was
Yeah,
maybe
just-
1 sack or 0. It
Yeah.
was. It got him paid. It was a great season.
Is he really only 26?
Worse?
Yeah, I mean that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, he graduated 4 years ago, right? 3 or 4 years ago. When did the Buccaneers win that Super Bowl? That was his rookie year.
I mean, I thought it was. Well, I guess it was the COVID, wasn't it? Was that the
Yeah,
COVID Super Bowl?
I think it was his That was 2020 was the year he graduated, I think.
Brady, who's your pick?
I'm going with Harrison Barnes. I remember, I think it was first grade maybe. He was at the Hy-Vee off of Douglas in Urbandale, and he was doing a signing, just signing autographs and taking pictures. And me and my dad went. We were in line for like 20 minutes. And then I had like a little mini blue and yellow basketball that I had him sign. Signed it in like a silver Sharpie, which I thought was really cool. And I had his rookie card. He also signed that. But I mean, he's been in the league for what, like 13 years, 2012, 13 years.
Yeah.
Year, just under 14 points a game, like 13.9, something like that. He's at the Spurs right now, which is a pretty good team. Got traded out of Dallas, which is an absolute dumpster fire. But I mean, I like Harrison Barnes. But it's a little personal story
World
too.
champ.
NBA champion, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any baseball players to shout out?
He's got to be
Jeremy
the most.
Hellickson.
Yeah.
Well, all the ones I can think of are no longer in the league. Hellickson isn't still pitching, is he?
Michael Wacha. No, he might not still be in.
One point to Brady's point is he is Harrison Barnes without looking anything else up, given NBA money in the 2020s. He is certainly the highest earning professional athlete to ever come from Iowa. He has earned $205 million through just through salary earnings in his career. 205 mil.
How much did Kurt Warner make when he retired?
I mean, not that much, just because of the time, I would assume.
Yeah, that's true. Caitlin will probably break that by the time she's done playing.
Not salary. No way.
Not salary, no. Yeah, not salary.
Make
Yeah.
like $1 million in salary by the time she's done.
Before we're done with this topic, I do want to mention that Joe Burrow was born in Ames, Iowa. So if he was actually, I don't think it's legitimate because I think he was born and then they moved to Ohio when I don't even think he got to kindergarten yet.
Yeah, because his dad was a coach at Iowa State.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner in 12 years earned $62 million. So yeah, not even close to what Harrison Barnes has earned. And so when you put it that way, I guess let's look up. Tristan Wirfs isn't anywhere close to that, but maybe someday he will be because left tackle.
He's got the largest contract, doesn't he, for offensive linemen?
Yeah. I know at the time he signed it broke the record. But every time a new good tackle signs a contract, it breaks the record. So,
yeah, Tristan Wirfs isn't catching Harrison Barnes either. He's at 42 mil so far, and obviously he'll get to close to 100 million. But again, Harrison Barnes 250 mil. That's crazy. It's a lot of dough.
Brady, is there any baseball players?
No one really comes to mind currently because that was
probably some pitchers in the farm system.
Yeah, there's one that went to Dowling. I can't remember Carter Baumler. I played his brother last year. He's pretty good. He's in the Orioles, I want to say. I'm not entirely sure, but he's really good. So there's definitely some guys coming up.
I graduated a year behind Matt Dermody, and he pitched like a few games for the Cubs, I think, and that's all he ever did. He ended up going back to AAA. So
sucks. That's all he ever did.
He was a heck of an athlete too, and I'm still
That's how you just made it sound.
No, Brady can attest to this better than I can. Being a professional baseball player has to be one of the hardest things. Like whether you're pitching or playing any other position, it has the biggest learning curve of any other professional sport other than maybe boxing, but no one cares about boxing anymore. But just the fact that he played in a few MLB games is insane.
So, Brady, you know who these guys are? Because Matt Dermott, it says he's still active on this thing. Mitch Keller, Michael Waka, Scott Schebler.
They're all probably not in the MLB though, are they? I don't think Matt's on it. What?
There's two guys that are my age that got drafted last year, just straight out of high school.
But they're probably still in the farm
to go to
system.
college.
Yeah, they're way down. What was that? What, Tyler?
And for baseball, can't you still go to college if you get drafted?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because Matt got drafted 4 years in a row because he played 3 years at Iowa, and then finally left once he got drafted after his junior year. So baseball's so weird.
Who was the dude from? There's a dude from Grimes that I thought pitched in the All-Star game.
Not sure.
Wasn't Joel Hanrahan from Norwalk?
Yep, Joel Hanrahan was a Norwalk kid. He was playing in the pros when I was still like in middle school, I think. I remember he came to our school for like a meet and greet thing, and I didn't have good enough grades to be at the meet and greet. It was kind of sad.
That is kind of surprising.
You guys give me a lot more credit.
I thought that was reserved for me.
I did a lot better in high school. Let's put it that way.
I think you guys all did better than me on real estate exam.
Okay.
There's that.
Yeah, I did dang near perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into real estate stories and stuff like that. Just, because of the week I've had, I thought it would just be fun to go around the table and say, what's your favorite part of the job that you do? What's the most fun?
Shout out to Thomas. My favorite part of the job is dealing with old crotchety real estate agents.
How many years have you been doing real estate, Tyler?
But I've been doing this for 30 years. Which when I hear that, I hear
this is an insider joke. We're not going to get into, but yeah.
When I hear people say, I've been doing this for 25 years, all I hear is the time has passed me by and I'm going to be really difficult on this sale.
The best part of my job is
we have this platform. We're going to use it, right? And I'll just say this. I would rather be a good agent than a greedy agent. More details to follow.
All right. Tyler, what's your favorite part of the job?
Working with people is kind of a cliche answer, but I would say like working very closely with like good friends of mine when those deals come about. I love working. I sincerely love helping everyone buy or sell a house. It is most of the time a lot of fun, and some of the time very, very rewarding.
But when it's like your best friend or like
my good friends,
a family member, it is so much fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, like just spending on a Saturday going around and showing them houses and kind of in a way showing off a little bit. Like it feels good showing your expertise to people that care about you. You know what I mean? And knowing that they have they trust in you fully and are leaning on you. That's something that I really, really relish and don't take for granted at all when I'm able to help friends and family out.
Andrew, what do you got? What's your favorite part of the job?
I mean, like Tyler said, I think we kind of joked yesterday about these things we were making, right? Like these graphics, and it was kind of like, hey, this is our job, right? Like, I mean, it is our job. So I think my favorite part about anything is marketing. And so we get to have that creative hat on all the time, especially when this is our business. We get to kind of say what we want to do to an extent. I mean, there's still laws and stuff, but I think just being able to be creative and have, like any business, you work you know, our buyers and sellers are our bosses, you know, but you know, we get to set the tone for when we work, how we work, you know, and how we want to market. And I think that's what's exciting for me. But the most important thing, I think, is just building those relationships with people, becoming a person of that's respected. I think has been really cool. Like I think people respect our opinions on things. You know, that we're the go-to for people. I think that's really cool versus just working in an office like I used to. Who was I to have an opinion on anything? So that's not a slight to anybody, but.
Brady, what's your favorite part so far?
I would definitely say like all the new relationships and people that I'm meeting, like you guys, all the people at Remax, lenders working with. Shout out Jared Nicolaisen, helped me a lot as a new agent.
Last name
The GOAT. But yeah, just meeting all these different people. The clients I'm working, it's also kind of cool where I'm helping people that are older than me, especially make such a big decision of like buying their first house and kind of being the person that is, you know, telling them all the ins and outs, the stuff they don't know about, where other people my age are just going to chemistry for a little bit, which no hate on that, especially, you know, that's definitely a good path. But I know it's cool that I'm able to help. At least I like to think that I'm helping people a little bit.
You're helping people, don't worry.
Yeah.
We've got you. I don't know about you guys, but what Tyler said kind of rings true to me. I am closing on a deal with literally one of my best friends in a week, and I think after the first weekend of showing him homes, I came home to Jen and said, "This might sound bad, but I don't want Landon to find a house very soon because it's just so much fun showing him a house." But there's that, working with friends. The most exciting part.
Side note to that, I love that I can wear sweatpants and smell funny. Like, you know, I don't have to even put on jeans when I'm showing my friends.
I mean, other people might care about you smelling funny. They just maybe don't say anything. But like Thomas said, I think that's maybe one of the hardest parts of the job is when you're helping friends, and then you get to, you know, for so many years you've been like, or for so many weeks and months, like you've been like in their lives every day. Well, now you get to closing, and then they don't really, you know, they don't need you like they did today. They don't need you like they did yesterday. And so that's always kind of bittersweet for me. You know, sometimes it's, you know, nice, but I would say for the vast majority of them, it's, you know, cool. We got to the finish line, but it's kind of like, all right, well, this is it, I guess.
I think the most exciting part, though, is the accepted offer. I still get jacked up, whether it's a listing that I have or a buyer. Once it's officially accepted, I think that's the most exciting thing. Some people would think it's closing day, but for me, for some reason, it's more exciting when you get everything accepted.
Yeah.
And we lost Brady, I think.
He told me he might have stepped out. So.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if he just froze and got kicked off or if he was leaving. So
Brady's in the room with me, actually.
Okay, you guys know what starts today?
Masters.
The Masters.
A tradition unlike any other. And I don't know, you guys don't really watch golf, do you?
I hate golf.
Okay, so I know you guys don't have any Masters picks, but
I don't hate golf. I don't hate golf. It's just golf is turning on golf is a way to just get me to leave the room. Yep.
I'll put a nap on the couch. Shout out Tiger Woods. I think he's winning it.
He's not even playing.
Which would be
even the right word in that situation.
Which would be even more remarkable.
The winner, by the way, is going to be Colin Morikawa. You can go ahead and book it right now. It's 1 p.m. on a Thursday. I think he's only like 13 holes in, but he's winning.
I'll bet you $100.
No, I'm not going to take that bet. I did bet on him to win.
Real quick.
I bet on him, but I'm not going to bet on him.
I'm not going to take Colin Morikawa or the field for $100. That's a terrible bet. Okay, but I thought it would be fun since the Masters is a tradition unlike any other. just give a shout out to either family traditions or Iowa traditions that you guys love.
So family traditions, one thing that I think that I've always wanted is like to make Iowa State football games like a family tradition where I bring my kids up, Isaiah and future kids up, and, you know, we tailgate and have a good time. Growing up, for football games, we would just go up to the game and leave right away. Go up, get there after kickoff, and leave like before the last play of the game is usually how it went when we go up with my dad. So I was always kind of envious of like tailgating and kind of making it like an all-day thing. And so far, since Isaiah's been alive, he's been to a good number of Iowa State games and tailgates, and that's definitely a tradition I look forward to keeping up. Because I can't lie, there's something about drinking beer outside of a football stadium that I love. I love Iowa State football itself, but just that whole atmosphere, and you can make it as kid-friendly as you want. And I'm not crazy or anything like that, so that's always the case. So I would say that. And then around Christmas time, the big tradition that Hannah, Isaiah, and I have so far is going out to pick out a live Christmas tree.
Heck yeah.
Picking it out to be cut down the week before Thanksgiving. And then we put it up, and then once we get back from Thanksgiving from her grandparents' house in Monticello, Iowa, that weekend we come back and we decorate it, like usually Saturday, usually Sunday. The follow after Thanksgiving is when we decorate the tree. So those are my two.
Brady's back. Andrew, do you got any Iowa or family traditions?
Yeah, obviously Tyler and I came from the same household, so we both enjoy Iowa State games. I think the Saturday before, or the Friday night before college football starts is like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Every Black Friday, Ryder and I wake up and go. He just likes to go hit
Technical difficulties.
Tyler likes to hit
grandma right now.
No,
Tyler,
if you were a grandma, your face would be like right here.
Grandma, if you're watching, Thomas didn't mean that. But,
I didn't say if you were Andrew Tyler's grandma. I just said if you were a grandma.
But anyways, every Black Friday, Ryder and I get up. We go and this year we went to Perkins and got breakfast, which was fun. And then every year, I don't know, Mally was probably 6 or 7 when we started doing it. We do a daddy-daughter shopping day around Christmas time, and I think it's one of the coolest. I just love it. Like we vibe. We just hang out, right, and hit up all the different stores. And Maisie got into it too. She thought though that like when I take Mally, I just buy Mally whatever she wants. And so she had a list of everything she wanted me to buy her. Like first I was like, hey, it's not what we do. But it's still fun. She kind of does different things than Mally, and then we do. So this is all Christmas tradition stuff. Like we go and we watch Santa Claus every year and have hot chocolate. And then we do a night where we get bebops, and then we drive around and look at all the Christmas lights. So I would say those are traditions unlike any other for us. So
Brady, you got anything? Family traditions or Iowa traditions that you've always loved?
Don't really have any Iowa traditions. Something we always do is go up to Notre Dame every year. We're big Notre Dame fans, so we always go up and watch not a basketball game, a football game. If there is a basketball game, we'll normally stop there, or a lacrosse game. It just depends. If we go to the spring game, there's a baseball game, so that's cool. But I mean, there's nowhere else that is like that place. It's for sure. It's really cool. I mean, you don't even have to be a Notre Dame fan, but you gotta check that place out.
I love the movie Rudy. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
Okay.
I actually got him to sign. He was doing a signing at Notre Dame when we were there, and he signed his book. He signed his book for me. It's in my room. Fun
Did
fact.
you tell him? Did you tell him the majority of them? Yeah, I was gonna say. Did you tell him the majority of the movie is made up?
He is the most overrated cat ever. Oh my gosh.
Most overrated cat. Okay.
My goodness. He was sorry. Why did he get a movie named after or made after? sucked.
It's an inspirational story.
No, he
Is
was.
this-
It's not that he's the best football player ever.
Hey, is this a bad time to
No.
bring it up that it's one of my favorite movies?
He
I
was
like the
bummed at football.
I
He
like
sucked at
the
football.
I like the movie, but when you go back and read about why the players actually lifted him up at the end of the game, it's kind of funny because some of them say it was a little bit more sarcastic than the movie made it out to be. It was like, hey, he got a tackle. Congrats, the little guy got a tackle, and then they carried him off the field.
Dude.
Like,
The reason they felt bad for him. Like, that's the reason why. But anyways,
as someone that
whatever.
played a similar role on his high school football team, I know
I wasn't gonna bring that up.
well, okay, now granted, Thomas, Rudy was at Notre Dame. Not
Do you guys want to hear?
He
Do you
was
guys
at
want to hear?
Norwalk, 3A Norwalk.
You guys want to hear a fun fact? And I think you might be able to actually Google this. There's a high school award that's given out every year that's called the Rudy Award, and you get a scholarship if you win it. My head football coach my senior year nominated me for that award.
That's what I'm saying.
So, I got an Iowa tradition, and that is this time of year, every single Iowan wearing a sweatshirt with shorts on.
Yeah.
It's a tradition unlike any other.
Do you have
that's-
shorts on right now? Do you have shorts on right now?
No, but I have very lightweight joggers. I haven't busted out the shorts yet. Not yet. And then as far as family traditions, I hate to sound like every single one of you guys, but yeah, I mean, when fall came around, that was when my dad made the good food on Saturday, and I ate all day and watched football with him and all the friends that he would bring over. We never really went to the games a ton, but Andrew, you've seen my dad set up because you're friends with him on Facebook. I think every single house that he's ever been with has had some sort of big TV bar area that he would have a bunch of friends over, and we would watch Iowa football and whatever else was on that day. So that was always my
Shout out Tim Miner.
Yeah.
yeah. According to Tyler, you're funny on Facebook, Dad. Just-
I got like, as I'm looking here, I got another tradition that my family likes to do. Every other year, we like to get characters done of us at the Iowa State Fair. For one, they're expensive, so we space them out. But two, just to kind of, our thought is over the years, we'll collect 20 of them, and you'll see a noticeable progression.
That's cool.
Obviously funny and very, very exaggerated. Of the four, there's two of the four that look like me. One of them I look like Jay Leno.
Show it again. Is Isaiah's in him now?
Isaiah's in one of them. So that would have been, he was like just about to turn one in that one that he's in. And then last year we didn't do it, but this summer we'll surely do it. Always love doing it. They're fun. I like getting made fun of. They have a field day with me. You already know they have a field day with me.
You'll have to tell
the whole time if I was one of those artists.
Dude, they have a field day with me. The only thing that they're like, the last time we did it, I'm pleased with the turnout of the last time. But man, they exaggerate all my already exaggerated features.
Hey, can we talk real quick? And we'll since we were in the topic of making fun of people. We did that. We posted that Simpson post yesterday, and Thomas says, "Man, that doesn't look anything like me." And the very first comment was somebody saying, "Man, that looks just like Thomas."
Who was that somebody?
it was my sister.
Yeah.
Do you have it available? Can you pull it up?
Yeah, give me just a second.
And to be fair, the only thing I was upset about was the jawline.
Yeah, but that's Simpsons though. That's what
I know.
Every other character in the Simpsons has that jawline.
Andrew, your truck almost just got clipped by the UPS driver.
We got a new truck, I guess.
Holy.
We're going to pull up this photo, and then we're going to give an update on who won the bracket. It does look a lot like me, but I have issues with the jawline, and then my hairline is much stronger than that. Like
Andrew and Brady, like that looks spot on. To be honest, especially when Andrew needs a haircut.
Oh yeah.
Look at that.
Why is Brady so jacked?
Because Brady's jacked.
Thomas, if you were a mad
This guy.
Italian dude, that's what you would look like.
That looks like that. Actually, I think looks a lot like Thomas.
If he just had some Italian heritage in him.
Took steroids. All right,
Fine.
Andrew, you got a bracket up.
Nope. Well,
is that prompt like G.I. Joe's?
No, it was make us look like wrestling action figures specifically.
It's funny.
So, well, I can't pull up Yahoo, but Courtney Bauer is the winner. I know that.
Okay.
Tyler Springer, seen on the screen right now, is second place. So he does not have to contribute. Essentially, he just saves the money.
Dang, March was nice to me this year, other than my team sucked. But
and then Taylor won. I don't remember who that Taylor is, so maybe you guys know.
Oh, I'll have to look that up. It might be the Taylor that I had sign up, so I have to double check that. Okay. And it was 300, 150, and then what was it for third?
So Courtney gets 300. Tyler's spot would be 150, and then third would be $50. So
Okay.
Congrats. We haven't made the shirts yet. We're working on it.
So I'm looking. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Until you just said that, I did not know I was in second place. I'm looking at my bracket. It's kind of crazy that I was in second place because my final four was Auburn, Michigan, Iowa State, and Michigan State, and I won somehow.
No, you had that.
No, you had Houston. You gotta look at the bracket that you had Houston in.
Oh, am I looking at the wrong one?
Yeah.
7.
He filled out 3.
I filled out 3 like you were allowed to. Thank you very much. Like everyone else could have.
But the thing with these, like, unless you're starting to get into pools that are like plus 1,000 people, if you get the champion right, you have a really good shot of winning.
Oh, I'm dumb. I forgot how this app works. I had all the final four right.
Okay.
At all places. And I would like to point out that Grandview basketball alumni, there's a handful of us that were in a bracket challenge, and I won that bracket challenge. So
is it that the one where you put the name as winner?
Winner. Yep. And I did that. The brackets were due at like 11 a.m. and I submitted that bad boy at like 10:58.
Look at Tyler's pants.
I don't understand why being more jacked changes your hairline.
Because gear. When you're on trend and gear and stuff, you start losing your hair, and that's what all those dudes that look like that are on. Thomas. First, Thomas is training for a marathon. So Thomas, when you see these fitness influencers that are cut up, especially when they're all jacked, they're on gear. It's not natural to look like that. So
okay, before Andrew just keep showing pictures, we're gonna call it now. Thank you to everyone that has been listening. In the episode description, there's a link so you can follow us on all sorts of different pages. We appreciate everyone that's watching. There's been a good amount of people watching live this whole time, so we appreciate that, and have a great day.
One more thing. May 26th, Memorial Day, we're doing a grill out at Raccoon Park. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but that's where we're doing it. And clients are invited. If you've worked with us, are working with us, or plan to, or maybe you just had that regret of working with somebody else and wish you worked with us, you're invited. So message us for more info and we'll share it with you.
Music, hot dogs, brats, burgers, bags.
We got some special sponsors and a special fundraiser. So
we are doing the bags tournament.
Probably.
Yeah.
Can I enter into it?
You got to pay.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are all going to get work with bags.
More details for this to come. There's going to be an entry fee to the bags tournament. Winner. And there's going to be teams. Winning team gets a prize, a valuable prize, but all the entry fees go directly to a nonprofit that we're teaming up with to
Let's go.
we're gonna try to at least raise a couple grand on Memorial Day for a great organization here in Des Moines, which we'll have a lot of more information about out soon.
Sweet. All right. Have a great day, guys.